So he was like walking up, or he was like standing there waiting to be next, and he's like taking cringy selfies. He's like putting his hand up under his chin and like holding his phone sideways, like taking selfies and like texting during the whole interview. It's like, dude, what the fuck? I don't think it mattered. It's like such a casual thing, and they probably deal with it all the time because it's like majority like university students that are hired into that role. So
At a
probably,
casino.
yeah. So it probably didn't matter, but it was still just so cringe. Crink.
Cringe. My mic worships Allah. I have that desert scarf thing.
Uh,
I forget what it's called.
it's a.
I'm blowing directly on it right now.
Okay, take it off and do that.
That's gonna be a lot worse.
Yeah, it is a lot better. Give me some. I popped some popcorn.
Give you some peas.
Yeah.
Yo, put it straight to my pack. Hey guys, what's up? It's Leafy here. Back in the reptile gang. iDubbbz is a cuck, and everyone should unfollow iDubbbz. Remember 2016? I actually kind of wanted to talk about this.
Yep.
2016 YouTube.
Um.
How just fucking cancerous it was.
Yeah, I remember watching. I remember watching a good bit of Leafy while he was in his prime, and then I just kind of got bored of him, and then yeah, I remember most of those days. I remember just grinding Counter Strike nonstop.
Yeah. I remember old H3H3. Like if you go to his channel now,
Mm.
it's all just completely different. Like I stopped watching. His old videos look outdated, but
Yeah,
they had
but
a
he
good character.
he he pioneered a lot of like the comedy genre on YouTube at the time. Like I don't know, he was the first person that had, I feel like, I don't know. Like he just blew up in such a crazy way. And he was really good in his
Mm.
prime. But did you ever watch that video by a smaller YouTuber, Gokanaru? He's like he took the place of iDubbbz because iDubbbz doesn't do content cops anymore. He does video vigilante. He did a video vigilante on H3. How long? It's an hour and 35 minutes long,
My God.
and it's just like exposing H3, and that was the definitive moment when I really stopped watching him. And it's one of those things that like there's no shortage of content on YouTube, so it's not like I was like, oh yeah, I kind of agree with everything this dude's presenting. H3 seems like an asshole, so I'm gonna stop watching him. And eventually he just kind of got worked out of my recommended and shit.
Yeah, he just went all podcast, and I wasn't really into podcasts then. And I loved his old videos. I don't know why I stopped doing them.
Yeah. I mean, I think his last good video was probably Vape Nation, because you could see the difference in it between Vape Nation 1 and Vape Nation 2, where it's like it seems like they've just lost all of the sort of sparkle that made the original and all their classics so special, because it just it almost seemed like once they started doing podcasts, they only saw YouTube as just a format for making money instead of a format for like expressing their comedy and stuff. Once they try and make something like like all their original content was, which is just short and sweet and funny and concise, it's like they don't even know how to do that anymore because they don't have that same drive for it that they once did.
I feel like they just way too quickly started realizing, like they saw the numbers coming in and how popular they were getting, and they just it's like they instantly like rush to ramp up production or like try to keep up the spark, like
Yeah.
push it to the next level when they should have just kept doing what they were doing.
And I mean, like, there was an interesting video I watched talking about Jerry Seinfeld, and it was like he was once, one of the top comedians in the game because he was so relatable. And then at a certain point, he's driving around in cars with, I think, like the clip was him driving around with like Obama or something in like
Yeah,
a Bentley. And it's like at that point, he doesn't live a normal life anymore, so he can't relate to the blue collar dude who's sitting at home on a Friday evening drinking his Coors Light, you
he
know.
was relatable. I mean, his story was, I never watched any of his shit, but I think his story was like he grew up in New York and he just like worked some kind of job or
Yeah.
something
Oh,
like
dude,
that.
I tried to watch that. It was so fucking boring. It's like
Coffee with Cars.
it
It's
wasn't
such
even
a boomer show.
yeah, it wasn't even really cringe. It was just like it was just boring. It's like it seems so like corporate and just pieced together. Oh, let's take people who already have a name for themselves and then stick them in a cool car and drink coffee.
It's legit like they have a format.
Yeah, but it's like
They drive a car.
podcasts are becoming so popular on YouTube because people like there's definitely an interest in sitting down with gigantic figures who aren't relatable but just having a conversation with them like Rogan does. He has a bunch of like big celebrities and presidential candidates and stuff on, but it's like that just takes away the thing that everyone's interested about is the conversation because I think they're like 20-minute episodes or something and it's all edited down.
Yeah, I couldn't watch that show. I don't like Jerry Seinfeld, and coffee's cool,
Yeah.
and retro cars are cool, but not if Jerry Seinfeld's driving one.
Fuck Jerry Seinfeld. Oh yeah, I guess, but to bring it all back around, that's the point that I was trying to make, and I think you were trying to make is like the sparkle that the classics of H3 had was that it was just a dude and his wife sitting down and just cracking jokes, and then once like they're not corporatized because they're not owned by really a corporate entity as far as I know, but like they corporatized themselves in the fact that it just became all about the money, which is fine because I guess they wanted money. But that's what that Gokunaru video delved into. It's like it kind of just seems like it went to Ethan's head. Like he was just an asshole for a long time.
Yeah, honestly, Vape Nation was the last video I watched, and even at the time, I was like, he's going downhill. Like it just doesn't have the same character it used to have. I would totally still watch his old videos.
Because I mean, at least those videos are true to themselves, you know.
Yeah,
So
because it was that was YouTube before like big corporate names took over, and just like it was before demonetization. So like,
Adpoc.
yeah, all these normal everyday people could just hop on and get a bunch of views, and they weren't like shoved to the side to promote family friendly content. Yeah, with celebrities, just normal people.
Yeah, I think that those were as far as I can remember, those were like the last moments of it. I mean, at the time that like H3 was like becoming massive was Filthy Frank and like Max Mofo, um, iDubbbz, and though I think 2017 is the year, 26 maybe late 2016, early to kind of all of 2017. Like that's sort of it was almost like a second golden age for YouTube because nowadays it feels so fake in a way, but like
Mm-hmm.
you had the original renaissance of YouTube, which was there was no money involved in the first place, so you had all the OGs like Smosh and whoever else that like sincerely deep down were just making content for the fun of it. And then it started people started to make money. That kind of revolutionized the content as a whole in a way. But then you had that 2016 slash 2017 year or years, I guess, where it did feel like a second golden age. It was like comedy at YouTube was at an all-time high, and then iDubbbz doesn't really post anymore. I know Max Mofo still makes content, um, and then H3 has kind of fallen off. So
Max Mofo, he survived.
yeah, he makes videos with anything for views, and I think someone else they do like a podcast.
I pretty much only watch YouTube for anything informative to talk about like a subject or learn new things.
Hmm.
And if you're going for comedy, pretty much we just watch meme comps. I don't know if that's just me growing up or if there's just not a lot of good original content left.
Um,
At least there's just so much content on YouTube. It's got to be hard to find. I'm sure it's out there, but
yeah, there is. That's sort of how I've even recognized myself progressing and like what I watch. I used to watch like a ton of gameplay videos, like a ton. I would watch certain people for their personality that they play games. Not even really let's plays, but I would watch like a bunch of CS:GO YouTubers highlights and stuff. But now I have sort of moved into the informational sort of avenue of YouTube. But like there are still some good people like that Nerd City guy that I linked you. If you watch his shit, he goes really in depth and he's not sort of like really afraid to lose his monetization based on certain topics that he'll cover. So he'll just go balls to the wall. And then there's another guy I watch, Jay Aubrey. He's sort of like an evolution of the Leafy type of content, but he also is more on the serious side. Like he talks about other YouTubers and drama and stuff, but he does it in less of a shit talky way and just more of like a showcasing really terrible shit that's happening on the platform and stuff. Um, so there is, I think that's just also how people have grown up in their content consumption, you know, because when we were younger, like sophomores and juniors, we would watch Leafy because, ha, funny Elfman says poop about other person. But it's like now I myself have sort of found myself just gradually moving into the same type of content, but it's also just kind of repackaged and uh, represented in a way that's more digestible to like an older audience.
Yeah, the change in the internet definitely just reflects the change in us. Like we're just the generation that grew up on the internet and we're the main users of it. So anything that's changing just says something about us, says about where we're at right now as a generation.